Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So we're here today because it is Booklist Thursday. Booklist Thursday is something I do with Sarah over at Sarah's Nightstand. We come to you every Thursday with some sort of book. Thoughts, ideas, recommendations, something bookish related. So today is kind of a fun theme for us today. It's just random recommendations. So it can just be anything. So I think we're gonna get some good stuff today. So I am literally pulling off a pile of books that I have right here that are books that were returned to me, that I borrowed out, that I pulled out for other reasons. I don't know, it's just this random pile of books. Like literally, just random. So I figured that would be perfect for today. So let's get started. First one I have is Vince Flynn. And this is a series that is written about Mitch Rapp. He is a Black Ops CIA agent. He's the one that's like, you know, not on the org chart, like undercover. He goes and takes care of things. I believe the first one in the series is American Assassin. I feel like it's American Assassin. But there's a number of books and it all follows the same character. Highly recommend all of them. You do need to read them in order. Very suspenseful, and they move really quick, really interesting events and plot twists, and it's fantastic. I love them all. Highly recommend. I've read all of them. They're great. They're really quick reads too, and I feel like he has, yeah, they're short chapters. They take place all over the world. They go by really quick, but underrated, I think, in my opinion. Next one I have is The Extraordinary Life of Sam Hill. This is Robert Dugani. This one follows Sam Hill, who as a child, and I believe we kind of go back and forth as him being an adult and then being a child. So we kind of get this idea of his entire, basically, life. He is born with what are called devil eyes, or they call him Devil Boy. He has red pupils instead of black pupils. His mother, who is extremely religious, calls it God's will, and basically is like, you're going to be extraordinary. This is a good thing. But as Sam is growing up, it does not feel like a good thing. He is ostracized and bullied and picked on and all of the things that you can imagine a child with red pupils would have to endure. And he teams up with Ernie Cantwell. He's the only African-American kid in his class. And they end up getting into some things with each other. This is a heartfelt book. This is a fantastic read. I enjoyed every single page, and it goes pretty quick considering it's fairly big. I mean, it's not huge, 430 pages, but it's a little bit of a chunkier book, and it was phenomenal, and I really enjoyed it. And you'll see kind of what happens to Sam later on in life, and it's a really heartfelt book. I loved it. Next one I want to talk about is Upside Down. Is What Alice Forgot by Leanne Moriarty. I feel like I have a really unique copy of this book with the book cover. I don't know. I think it's really cool. I thought about getting rid of it, but I'm like, no, I don't want to. I think it's really interesting. Anyways, this follows Alice. She's 29 and living pretty good life. She is super optimistic and is recently married, I want to say, to her husband, Nick, and they're expecting their first baby. And Nick, like, she just is in love. I mean, they're just happy and in love. They're fantastic. So then, to Alice's surprise, she goes from living this great life and being pregnant and living with Nick, and it's fantastic. She comes to on the floor of a gym. She hates gyms. She is whisked off to the hospital. She is worried about her baby, desperate to see Nick, and realizes she is not pregnant. Nick's not worried. Like, she basically fell at the gym and lost the last 10 years of her life. So she's 39, has 3 kids. The honeymoon with Nick is over. Her house is not quite the picture perfect dream that she had. So all of these plans she had at 29, she's realizing did not happen when she's 39. So it's basically a book about amnesia. She loses 10 years of her life and is trying to figure out where things went so off the rails. Really enjoyed it. One of my favorite Leanne Moriarty books. Her more recent books I haven't been enjoying as much, but I really did love this one. So highly recommend that as well. Then I have The Tattooist of Auschwitz. This is by Heather Morris. Actually, my grandma just gave me this back. She read this all in one day, one sitting, which you can easily do. This is April 1942, obviously set during World War II, obviously in a concentration camp. We follow Lael. He is transported to Auschwitz. The captors discover he speaks several languages. He's put to work as the tattooist. So his job is to tattoo the prisoners' numbers on their arms. And he's basically meeting everybody. And he ends up meeting Gita. And they kind of end up falling in love in the most unlovable of places. But it follows his story. It is based on a true story. It is phenomenal. It goes by really quick, and it's so good. And I believe there's more. There's then the next one is because there's another girl in here. Silka's Journey, I think, is the next book. So yeah, there's more to the story. This is just the beginning of it. It is phenomenal. Really, really great historical fiction. Again, I don't think it's talked about enough. Then we have another historical fiction, yet a little bit of a mystery involved in it. This is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. This one is kind of dual timeline. So we have present day. Caroline is a historian. She discovers an aged apothecary vial in the river in London while she was going, what is it called that she goes and does? Like basically when the water's low, when the tide is out, they go and kind of dig through what's in the river and they come up with all these different treasures, kind of like metal detecting. I don't know. There's mudlarking, I think. Oh, I can't remember. But it was really interesting because I went on a big Google train or rabbit hole or whatever you want to call after that. So she finds this apothecary bottle and starts to kind of investigate it. She finds a link between this vial and London's long unsolved apothecary murders. So then we go back in time to kind of the origin of this apothecary bottle in the 1700s to the apothecary where this came from and all of the good stuff behind it. It's fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. I still think about this book. So that one's great. Let's see. How many do I have? I think that's 5. I do have a bonus one sitting here. So we'll talk about lessons in chemistry and how much I enjoyed this book as well. This is by Bonnie Garmos. This one follows our main character, Elizabeth. She's a chemist in the 1960s. So very male-dominated career, but she's following her passion. She is definitely a very interesting character. And is dealing with being in a male-dominated job, dealing with some things that have happened in her past, not great things. But she does end up meeting, what's his name? Kelvin. And he's about the only one that kind of gets her. They end up falling in love. There's a dog in this book named 630 who's like, love that dog. And so you kind of follow this relationship and see how she goes from being this brilliant chemist and ends up hosting, it's called, I think, Dinner at 6 or Supper at 6. It's a cooking show for women. I think that's about the premise of it, which doesn't sound like fantastic, but I don't know, something about this book really, really grabbed me. There were really funny times, there were really sad times. It's a lot packed into this book, so I would really encourage you to read it. I think it's great. So there are 6 random recommendations for you. I have more books sitting here, but that'll be in my wrap up, so you'll hear about them soon. So anyways, hopefully if you haven't read any of these, highly encourage you to pick them up. I think they're fantastic. It's a pretty big variety, I think, of genres here, from contemporary to historical to some murder mystery to assassins. It's fantastic. So there's my random recommendations for you today. It's harder than you think because I want to like recommend everything behind me. So we won't go there. Anyways, head over to Sarah's channel and see what she has for you for random recommendations today. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.